Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to LinkedIn Local Metro South. Today, we will discover how to get a job in LinkedIn. And before we begin, I would like to give you a few minutes for you to register. I think we will be giving away ebooks, and I think also printed books, and a LinkedIn career subscription and learning subscription. So I'm gonna be sharing the link for you to register. Okay, so once more, in a few minutes, about to begin, get that job in LinkedIn. Okay, so once more, good evening, everyone. And thank you and welcome for joining us this evening. If you're there, please, requesting you to please comment down. Nasaan kayo ngayon? Where are you located? Okay, please comment down. What's your location? Hi. I would like to say hi from Santa Rosa, uh, Laguna. Okay. In addition, inviting everyone who's into digital creativity. If you're into creativity, specifically digital, okay, may we invite you to join us in Digital Creatives Philippines. And for those who would like to receive a certificate of event participation, once more, I think the link is in the comment section. Oh, here it is. Get the job in LinkedIn. Okay, we have tons of upcoming learning events. Okay, tomorrow it will be surviving the pandemic. Tons creating YouTube video tutorials with Camtasia. So, and for all of you out there who's once more into digital creativity. Okay. So once more, requesting everyone to ask questions. Okay, wag mahiya. So this is a sort of town hall meeting where we get to discover paano nga ba, how to land a job. Not only getting a job in LinkedIn, but in general, no, how to be successful in your own chosen field, chosen career. So we have three of the top career coaches here in the Philippines to ask your questions. Ayan. So it's an early Christmas gift. Anyways, yeah, every day here in our community is Christmas. So we don't have to wait. So the spirit of giving is always here. Okay. Uh, our first Santa Claus, our first sharer of knowledge, okay, is Dennis De Silva. Ready ka na, sir? Let's give a warm welcome and good evening to Dennis De Silva. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, John Mark. It's the second time around, so happy to be here to share the table with you and the rest of the speakers no, or sharers today. So happy to be here again. So good evening to everyone who made the time to join us today.
Ayan, so second time, don't worry, no, magiging ano na yan, too many to count na.
Of course, no worries. Happy to help.
Ayan.
It's a
Okay,
pleasure.
yep. Some may ask, no, bakit ba na-organize tong event na to? What's the reason? So every day, every year, we get to meet thousands of students. Actually, ano pala, no, let
Mhm.
me say thank you to all our partner student orgs. Ayan, Binildian, Fab Lab, Sir Archie, and thank you. Ayan, so it would be sad uh, and unfair for them if don't get, for the newcomers, they don't get to hear, to feel Dennis, no? So hoping to do this with everyone, no, annually for the newcomers. Yep. I guess my first question, Sir Dennis, for those who are not familiar with Sir Dennis. Sir Dennis,
Yes.
introduce yourself. Who are you?
Yes, who am I? Yes. So yes, I am Dennis De Silva, and I started my LinkedIn journey I think back in 2009. No, so back in 2009. So how many years na yon? 11 or 12 years na, no? So it's been a great time hanging out with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn provided me a lot of opportunities. My primary, I'm actually a CPA, so that's my primary profession. And due to LinkedIn, I have created second acts and third acts, so multiple opportunities and multiple careers. So find out later. I'll be sharing more about that. No. So ayun. So over to you, Joe Mark.
Let's bring in our second panelist, sharer for this evening. Ayan. Please connect with him as well. Yep. In LinkedIn. And I think he is not here in the Philippines. Let's ask him where he is right now. Okay. Adding Bernie. Sir Bernie. Good evening.
Kumusta? Kumusta, Sir Joe Mark? Nice to be here again.
Ayan. Same
And hi
question
from
po.
Chicago. Hi from
Yep. Ayun.
Chicago.
Hello,
Hi,
Bernie.
Dennis. Good to see you. Glad to be on this
Same
panel with
here.
you. Just a little introduction.
Yep.
Electronics and Communications Engineer from St. Louis University sa Baguio. Napadpad, nawala dito sa Chicago. While working as an engineer, I also work as a part-time instructor, teacher. So students, malapit na malapit po sa puso ko yan. So the other thing also that happened to me is kagaya ni Sir Dennis, LinkedIn has brought about a lot of opportunities. And in my case, specifically, I got caught by the entrepreneurial bug like early on. So I knew that career working for a company wasn't for me. So I wanted to be always on my own, so to speak. Long story short, 3 years ago, I jumped into a marketing gig. Again, compliments of LinkedIn, of business relations, of networking, parang ganon. Ginagawa namin, naghahanap ng mga kliyente para sa mga coaches and consultants sa LinkedIn. So mga packages nila matataas na, 5,000 all the way to 100,000. We were looking for clients for them using LinkedIn. Pero dahil sa malapit yung puso ko sa mga estudyante, my niece, who happens to be in college, said she was looking for an internship. So it occurred to me, I was like, why can't we teach these same business tactics na ginagamit ko? Bakit hindi pwede natin i-share ito sa mga estudyante so that they can find jobs faster? So yan, Sergio Mark, ang short introduction.
Ayan. So once more, thank you. Curious to know, anong oras na daw dyan ngayon?
I had to wake up at 4:15 sa umaga. Para siguradang gising ako habang kinakausap ko kayo. Okay lang
Good
yan, basta pa
morning.
sa mga estudyante.
Ayan. Okay, so yep, we have tons of questions lined up. Actually, nandito na nga sa backstage yung some of the students who are eager to ask questions. Yep, and lastly, our third sharer, okay, is also, I think, also an engineer. Chemical, I think, to be exact. Let's give a warm welcome and good evening to Sir Nelson D.
Hello, Joe Mark, and nice to be here again. And hello, Dennis, and hello, Bernie. And for your audience who's wondering what I can offer them, I am a chemical engineer with an MBA. And Joe Mark, it's interesting you said that you are in Santa Rosa. I run two factories, packaging, in the Santa Rosa facility. And not only that, I have 30 years experience behind me, and my goal is to have that 30 years serve the next 30 years of the young people that we're going to talk to. And for that, my advocacy is to help them succeed faster, be happier. And for that, LinkedIn is wonderful. I get to also get speaking engagements and workshops. I give training on career, even relationships, if you like, and communications and purpose. Purpose is important because if you don't know your life purpose, you will not know your career purpose. Not only that, I
Mm.
also wrote a career call for Philippine Star for 9 years. I have 12 published books, three of them on career. And I also give career counseling for college students and young professionals. And of course, love advice. If you want to be also in that particular topic.
Ayan, pwede daw, love advice. Anyways, ayan, shout out to Janet Kahukom. Ayan, Sir Raymond Mapalad. Ayan, thank you. Okay, Bliven Ginger from Siliman University. Okay, I guess let's pour out the first set of questions.
Excuse me.
Okay, and the first one is why do you think daw, no? Why do you think ito una muna no? Kasi we are talking about LinkedIn. In a few words, why do you think the students should create an account and be active in LinkedIn? Sir Dennis, let's warm things up.
Okay. So sad to be the first one, Joe Mark. Kidding aside, no. Yeah. So why you should create account? Well, as I've said, no, to my coaching clients, to my mentees, we are in the World Wide Web 3.0 already. We're on the brink of Web 3.0. What does that mean? So gone are the days of the Web 1.0. So of course, I'm very sure most of us knows this, no? So kasi our careers are associated to the evolution of the internet. So Web 1.0, just a background, di ba? Yun yung the usual, we just consume data. So if you would recall, Joe Mark, no, that we used to buy call cards and then we input um, we input it just to get access to the internet, no? And then later, pasok 1999, no, doon na yung creators economy, no, up to this time na where everyone is allowed to create accounts. Then dyan na yung mga forums, we can exchange ideas. And I think the common misconception of people that when we are in the creators economy, this is just for the vloggers or this is just for the bloggers, no? Or content creators, and ang daming nami-miss out ng ating mga corporate professionals, no? So we're in this world, no? I think we're on the same boat, and I think we need to bank on that. And going back to the topic or the question, bakit kailangan, no? Why do you think students should have and be active on LinkedIn? This is the same piece of advice I gave yesterday, no? I have talked to a number of young professionals as well, no? So if we will follow the Web 1.0 era, submitting our resumes and thinking that our name would be picked like a lottery, so we have very short room to be heard, short room to be screened, di ba? And using LinkedIn as a command center, it would somehow give us leverage to that very short leg room. Yeah, so that's the reason why you need to be on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Your thoughts, Sir Bernie?
Yeah, I'd like to build off of what Sir Dennis just shared. I'm going to start with data. So as of latest, if you go on LinkedIn and you start browsing, ang sinasabi nila, it's 756 million global users and growing. So global yan. So sa akin, ang perspective ko, how do we get the Filipino into the international stage? Kasi marami akong nakikita, doing all my work on LinkedIn, napansin ko maraming tao from India, from Brazil, from Europe, etc., etc. So when I started, sabi ko, saan yung mga Pilipino? Was my original question. So going back specifically to students, ang trabaho ko ngayon, when I created my student workshop, graduate to hired, one of the first things that I wanted to do was saan yung mga estudyante? So I pumunta ako sa universities. So doing my research sa universities, napansin ko that to Sir Dennis's point, everybody just got on LinkedIn when they were looking for a job. Kumbaga, passive. They used it as a passive way to find the job. So why do you need to be on LinkedIn when you're second year college, third year college, fourth year college? Ang pinaka-importante dyan para sa akin ay yung sinasabing business relations. How do you move forward in your career? How do you move forward in business? It all boils down to business relations. And what a wonderful gift LinkedIn is at our fingertips to be communicating to everybody around the world. Most importantly, sa mga malalapit na tao, but more importantly, you have access to the global arena. So why do you need LinkedIn? It's at your fingertips. The world is at your fingertips.
Okay, so yep. Once more, there's no right or wrong here. We are in for a treat really this evening because iba talaga yung maririnig mo yung ano no. You get to hear different perspective from different gurus. How about you, Sir Nelson? What's your perspective? Your take on that?
All right. I'm coming from the perspective of the employer because I run two factories, remember? So I had my share of hiring, coaching, and firing people. So I know what I'm looking for and why LinkedIn, especially if you're a student. Here's why. You have to package yourself to be so attractive to would-be employers. And for that to happen, LinkedIn is an amazing tool because two things. One, when you're applying for a job, actually, you should be doing it before you need a job. You already have to beef up in fact, your resume inside that LinkedIn profile of yours. And what's more, if you want to be better than your competition, do you assume that your recruiters will be looking at your posts, your activities? So therefore, what you're going to write about in your posts or articles should be something of substance to say that you have good character, you have this, you can be potential thought leader, so that then whenever an employer would check out your LinkedIn profile, you'll say, wow, I want to hire you. And that's where LinkedIn is powerful. And that's why you should be active there.
Okay, yep. I just want to highlight Raymond's comment, no? True to paraphrase Kiyosaki. So, yep, we're no longer in the industrial age. We're in the information age. Very, very true, no? Ayan, and most especially yung mga students natin na nandito rin ngayon, no? All came from computer, so IT background. So definitely they concur. Okay, moving forward. Another question. I think the first one probably will be directed to you, Tito Nelson, no? Eto, I learned this, ano na too late. Late na, no? In my career. So, I'm an avid fan of basketball. So, we get to hear coach, right? Diba? But how important it is, Sir Nelson, Sir Bernie, Sir Dennis, to have a mentor, a coach beforehand. Sir Nelson.
All right. The reason why you need a coach or mentor is that so you do not have to make expensive mistakes, which your mentor may have done and is warning you not to do. The other way is like this: your mentor and your coach have learned important lessons that you may not have time to learn. So learn from them, be smart, accelerate your learning curve, learn from their mistakes, learn from what made them successful, so that then you'll be able to make yourself successful faster and earlier.
How about you, Sir Dennis? Did you have that privilege na ikaw ay mentor din?
Of course. Learning is a lifelong process, no? So I'm actually privileged to be here as well because there are a lot of wisdom shared in this table, no, in this round table. So siguro banking on what Sir Nelson mentioned, no? Yes, it is important to have a coach. First, it's to avoid costly mistakes, no? So back then when I founded the startup, I don't had well I do some research, but I didn't really had that mentor beside me, and I spent all my life savings at that time. It just went off the bank, no. And having someone beside you, it's more of really showing the way, and the coach would also provide you the tools on how to get there to that intended destination, no? So it's really a big advantage kasi if you have no guide, no one's going to show you the way, then you will really be lost. A lot of money, time, and effort is wasted.
Yeah, because we mentioned coach, 'di ba? There's I'm not sure no if there is I think there is, 'di ba? A profession then as not as a of course a basketball coach. But definitely there's also a career coach. What's your take on that, Sir Bernie? Can afford ba yan sa students or how does it work? What's the cost effective na way to kasi I have seen some people but they're already 'di ba highly professional na they even hire career coaches na lawyers pa. I've seen such cases. What's your take on that, Sir Bernie?
So, very good question, Sir Joe Mark. And I'd like to build off of what Sir Dennis and Sir Nelson just said. From the perspective of leverage, they were saying that you're taking advantage of other people's knowledge. Importante yan, especially kung estudyante pa kayo. So, usually, ang iniisip natin, I think back to when I was a new graduate from St. Louis, coming directly to the States, so naghahanap ng trabaho, wala akong mentor. It took me 4 years to get an engineering job, to get in an industry. So I was thinking back, sana my mentor, sana my coach, where was Bernie, the coach / mentor, when he needed it? So to your question about affordable ba yan? And to your point na coaching has been an industry ngayon. You have coaches and you have consultants. Yung coaching comes more from the standpoint of yung consultant, like a coach, they kind of like tell you stuff to do with your schooling, your business. Yung mentor, they allow you to create, I won't get into that, but long story short, yung sinabi ko kanina na business relations on LinkedIn, is it affordable for students to get coaches and mentors? The answer is yes, by way of LinkedIn. And your way to get to those coaches and mentors is creating these business relationships. Para makausap niya, you reach out to Sir Nelson, to Sir Dennis, to myself, to Sir Jomar. By creating relationships, you're just going back and forth, just like having a conversation, kagaya nito. Pero before you know it, tinuturuan na kayo. You can ask this question or that question, or they're watching you and they have comments for your career or what it is that you're doing at the moment.
Joe Mark, may I add something to what Bernie said? I love what Bernie said, and actually, it's also the mentor opens doors for you because he has his wider network and he can also create opportunities for you. But there's one thing which is usually not said. For the students especially, if you want to have a good mentor, you must prove yourself to be a good mentee because mentors, their time is precious. Okay, so that's the other thing which the students have to learn because they want mentored, but okay, so why should I mentor you? So they have to prove themselves to be excellent mentees. Then it'll be quite satisfying to guide them in their young careers.
Tama, no? Tama. Tama. You want to teach pero that person hindi ganun ka teachable or not eager, no? Thanks for bringing that up. Okay. Let's warm things up naman, no? Let's move further. Bigyan natin ng onting participation ng students. So, Miss Nelsie, is Emmy Rose Lete there?
Hi, sir.
Ayan. Sorry, ikaw una, no?
Hello po.
Spotlight.
Hello
Okay,
po.
do you have any questions to our gurus?
Yes po, sir. What advice can you give us that we can apply to ourselves when we are in this industry?
Again?
What advice can you give us that we can apply to ourselves when we are in this industry?
I would probably assume na IT industry, tama ba? Pagkakaintindi ko.
Yes po. Yes po, sir.
IT.
Sir Dens, patulong.
Dial a friend.
Sige, siguro for me, regardless of
Yeah.
what industry you're in, or regardless of your profession, speaking of about LinkedIn, no, I think you just need to go out there and establish or create your digital portfolio. So what do you mean by digital portfolio or digital asset? So this is not just for graphic designers, no. I think I'm not sure, John Mark, if you are familiar with that platform when you want to showcase your work if you are a graphic designer. Pero same thing
Behance.
as
Yeah.
with LinkedIn, no? Yes, exactly. So
ArtStation.
whenever you have created something, or whether you have done something, right, you always pull all these assets to your LinkedIn account. So continue to build on that. And of course, LinkedIn is not just an online resume. So back when in the days when I used LinkedIn in 2009, it has evolved, no? So 2013, I think LinkedIn bought this Pulse blogging. That's the reason why we can write articles. And before, I made use of that career advice hub. Pero mukhang wala na ngayon, no? I could just give free advice whoever people matches to my their needs and my skills. Mukhang nawala na yon. So I think it's more really, as I've said, we're in the sharing economy, creators economy already. It's not actually something new. You should be there already creating content. So to get noticed, again, going back to my first spill, no, you just need to show yourself out there, and your content would serve as your message, diba? It's that's the reason why it's called social network, eh. So whatever you share out there, it's your message to reach someone. So it's a matter of what content will you share to make it effective, and who are you targeting. Ayan. So over to you, Joe Mark.
Hmm.
Ayan. So, thank you, Emmy Rose. Here's another. Mukhang mabigat to ah.
Hmm.
Bigat atang hinihingi ng mga to. Ba't ganito tanong nyo?
I wonder what the question is.
Hindi naman
Baka
po.
love
Parang,
question yan kay Sir Nelson.
ah, siguro, ito to. Kay Sir Bernie na lang muna. I don't know.
Sige.
Ito,
Sige.
di ba, yung mga quotes na ganito, no? Parang time is
That,
gold. Di ba? Parang ganon.
that's a beauty contest question.
Oo, oo. What are your top, kahit hindi naman ano, no? Kahit hindi na tatlo, kahit isa lang na parang you always say to other people na quote na ganyan, or you may have created your own. What's your quote, Sir Bernie? Time is
Very
gold
good.
din ba?
Hindi. Applied knowledge is the key to power. Sa akin, para sa mga estudyante. Kung impormasyon lang ang nasa inyo, you're just gathering. Guess what? You're a library. Library lang kayo. Pag nangongolekta kayo ng impormasyon. So when you apply the information, i.e. the golden nuggets from Sir Nelson, Sir Joe Mark, Sir Dennis today, when you apply it, then it becomes your power.
In other words,
Okay.
like what Bernie said, don't be a Wikipedia, be a software.
Well,
May
said.
application
Operating
siya.
system. Operating
Tama.
system, yeah.
You reminded me
True.
of Pirelli parang power is nothing without control.
Oy, that's precious.
Love it.
Love that. Quote of the night.
About you, Sir Dennis, sa books mo, or probably sa book mo, no? You may have.
Yes, you're in general. I don't have any specific quote, no, pero it's more of really life, career. It's a daily walk, right? So, some of us would be enticed with the pleasure of the outcomes, no. So, like what Sir Bernie mentioned, Coach Bernie mentioned, and Sir Nelson, just tying it together, no. So execution, no. So there's a process. Ang problema kasi when we see marketers out there, no? Well, every one of us naman, kapag nasa LinkedIn, are inherently marketers kasi it's we are our own PR, no? PR officers, no? Tayo ang we PR ourselves, no? Parang we should think like that. Pero anyhow, everything is undergoes a process. So yun, puro kasi outcomes ang laging nakikita eh. So yun, so lahat may proseso.
Ayan, no? Because we mentioned quote, parang I just discovered right now that the three of you has a book. Okay, yung pala commonality except me. Okay? We'll be sharing
May I
yep, we'll
share
be
my
sharing
quote?
the links opo
Yeah.
in a moment, no. Definitely a must read. So this our three guests has books. So yep, and they'll be sharing to us that later. Okay, another question daw muna.
Wait, Joe Mark, may I give my quotation because this is something
Yep.
which will be valuable for those who are looking for a job. And this is something which is from one of my books. It is like this. You do not ask what the employer can do for you. You ask what
Yep.
you can do for your employer. Because believe you me, I've seen many applicants where they're focused on what will I get? What is my salary? What's my vacation time? Yeah, I'm not kidding. So the one that will stand out is that you're thinking from the standpoint of value. What can you do to the employer? Your assets, your knowledge. Knowledge is power, applied knowledge. And when you do that, you make yourself more attractive to the employer so that all the more you will get the job.
Your take on that, Bernie?
That's really, really awesome. One of the things that Sir Dennis said earlier is we're our own PR person. So when you're on LinkedIn, you're kind of like lauding the praises of why you're good, why you're good. But to Sir Nelson's point, when you go to a job interview, the person on the other side of the table is thinking about how does this student or how will they contribute to the job that's being offered. So kung baga, speak their language. Ang language
Yeah.
nila, paano ka makakatulong sa kumpanya nila? So kailangan, sagutin mo yon. You need to start talking about how you're valuable. Sure, it's good that you tell them about your credentials, your accomplishments, but in the back of your head, they're there to hire you. Yun ang agenda nila. You'd better be addressing yung agenda nila kung gusto ninyong ma-hire.
Yeah, and to add to what Dennis said,
True.
we're all marketers. So also to what Bernie said, you have your credentials, but the question is, so what? So from the standpoint of your client, the customer, the employer, so what? So what if you're summa cum laude? So what if you have this kind of internship? So what? And that's where you have the students have to answer that very well.
Oo nga. This is ano no, yung mindset na yan is very typical to the young ones, no. Let me share pala the hard truth with regards to employee, no. Pag sinabing employee, you get to bring money. Let's be brutal. If I want an employee right now, your job, the job of an employee, or the others may say corporate slave, your job is to bring in money. Let's be brutal, money to the company. That's why they have a job opening. They want somebody to help out, bring profits, revenue, money to the company. So definitely, ayan, sa mga nakikinig na students, you have to answer that question and be in the perspective, the shoes of the hiring manager, may it be the CEO, di ba? Na ang kailangan kong tao, tutulong, someone will help the company grow, you helping, di ba? You bringing in money, and then of course, we have to be just. You have to be compensated for that. Now, um, there are sometimes opportunities na hindi lumalabas. Okay, sa mga students, hindi lumalabas. Kung marunong kayo, and the best one is looking for problems within a certain organization, na yung tipong wala silang need for that. And because you mentioned that thing, you mentioned a problem, of course, 'di ba? Lahat may inis kung sasabihin mo lang problem, 'di ba? and you offered a solution, mas malupit yon na wala ngang opening, baka magka-opening because of you. 'Di ba? Let's be honest and brutal sa mga students. You always think again in the back of your mind daw, 'di ba? Na ano yung maitutulong ko na hindi brutal ang pagsasabi nyo na paano ako makakatulong magdala ng success sa company. Am I right, Sir Bernie?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Sir John Mark. Tapos yung sinasabi ninyong, they may not be asking you the question specifically, pero kada question na tatanungin nila, you should be thinking as the interviewee kung paano nyo maipapasok yon. And then to help you, paano malalaman within the organization kung anong kailangan nila, yon yung importansya ng doing research before you go to your interview. Go to the internet, find out what the company is all about, what are their initiatives. Tapos yung specific na trabaho, punta kayo sa job description. Ano yung mga sinasabi nilang kailangan nilang mga skills and mindsets. You know, yun ang i-address nyo in tandem with kung paano ninyong matutulungan yung kumpanya. So hope that adds some more.
I like that, Bernie. And John Mark might add, you also look at the core values of the company. There is no more excuse for you not to do your homework on that interviewer or that employer. Everything's properly now in a website. There's this about us. There's this annual report. So aside from knowing what is the skill level involved and also what the company's up to, find out their core values. And here's the tip. You must convince the employer that you personify the same core values, because then like attracts like, and that is
True.
also the other key why you have to do that homework and package yourself, well, honestly, yeah, but package yourself wisely.
Thanks. Yep.
Ayan.
I like it resonated with me, no, the one that Joe Mark mentioned, no, because in terms of companies, end of the day, well, except for nonprofit organizations, businesses, the reason why businesses are put up because they are after making profit, right? So that's the lifeblood of every business, and in linking it to the companies, if let's say, is this really true that companies care for us or for people? Of course, I believe so. It's a top-down approach. But
He's still there. Probably internet connection. May naalala tuloy ako, no? I remembered something tuloy sa when I'm browsing through LinkedIn feeds pala, no? Parang we all pray, 'di ba? Yung mga job seekers all pray for landing a job, 'di ba? Parang they forgot to pray for what if nandun ka na nga, pero Sir Nelson, Sir Bernie, toxic pala, no? Because you'll never know until you're there. What the culture is, who's your boss, is he supportive? 'Di ba?
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Just to your point, Sir John Mark, may I share a little experience that I had nung naghanap ako ng, I got this job that was in sales. And to Sir Joe Mark's point, ang problema, kung you interview, they may look good, they may tell you everything that you want to hear, tapos malalaman mo na toxic pala yung environment, kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Joe Mark. So ang ginawa ko was I started to go to LinkedIn to find the organization, yung mga taong nagtatrabaho dun ngayon. So I reached out to them, connected with them, and asked them what it was like working for that company. So long story short, yung one person that I reached out to, she actually helped me through the entire interview process. So again, that's another power of LinkedIn na matutulungan kayo and everything is at your fingertips.
Parang a realization dyan, di ba, na-mention ni Sir Nelson na due diligence, no? Find out what the company is. Pero as much as you can, find out din pala, di ba? Yung mga tao who you get to work with eventually, if you're there na, the reality sinks in. Because I have seen companies na they say we have a gaming room, free food, 'Di ba? Gaming room, yung pala yung gaming room is a trap. Pag madalas ka pala doon parang pautot lang pala yung gaming room, yung mga gano'n, yung mga yoga room. Pag nandun ka pala ang tingin nila sa hindi ka nagtatrabaho. So parang it's all for show. And I've seen companies like that din sa mga creative yung mga creatives na yan na company. I have met persons na umalis doon na may mga perks sila ng ganun. Pero again, the culture, your boss is toxic pala. So, bye-bye.
I like what Bernie said. It's reverse character reference. Yeah, I like that. You check out the employer. He's going to check you out, so why not do the same thing to him?
Yep. Lester, do you have a question?
Yes po, sir. Hello po. Good evening po, Sir Edwin.
From what
As
school are you daw? From what school? What course?
from ano po, I'm BSIT ano po, courses and from PL Moon.
Okay.
Then my question po is what are the do and don't every job interview?
Do's and don'ts.
Yes po. Every job interview po.
Ako na lang siguro muna, no. Let me share my friggin experience, no. My second job in Batangas, Sir Nelson, Sir Bernie, Sir Dennis. Do's and don'ts daw. My second job. So I was hired in that company and then nag-apply ako sa isa pa. To be exact, Samsung. Ayan. Okay. And the funny thing there is I left the house. Tapos naisip ko parang shit, nawawala yung susi. So I spent a few minutes searching for that damn key, which it turned out nandun lang pala din sa bulsa ko, hindi ko lang makapakapa. Okay, and then I arrived late for that interview. And the funny thing there is it's a panel interview. So nasa kabilang side sila ng room, the Koreans, and kami mga interviewees, magkakasama kami. So, the questions, maririnig mo yung the same questions, so maririnig mo yung tanong nila sa'yo, so mas nakaka-pressure. So, isipin mo, kunyari, yung tanong, tell me about yourself, mapapaisip ka na gano'n at malas mo kung ikaw yung huling-huli. Now, the funny thing there is, ano pala sila, I learned this the hard way, no, with regards to sa oras. And simple lang yung tumagilid sa akin. During the interview, yung patapos na, they mentioned na ayun, late ako. So it is strictly in their company policy, yung mga boss doon, mahigpit na mahigpit sa late. So I guess it's meant to be. So probably that would be my first advice, no? Never ever be late, and it's a general thing naman talaga, 'di ba, Sir Nelson, Sir Bernie, Sir Dennis?
True.
All right. Sir Dennis, ikaw, ayan, do's and don'ts daw.
Ayan, I hope I don't get cut the line again. No? But anyway, I think you can never go wrong observing the basics, right? What are these basics? So, binanggit na ni Coach Joe Mark, ni Joe, yung never be late. I think whenever I show up for interviews, normally an hour before I need to be there in that place. No, so that 1 hour I can use it to somehow rehearse for the interview. So I have something already at the back of my head. Naka-frame na siya. So that's very basic, no? Binention ni Joe Mark about tell me about yourself, no? So don't just say that, you should include somehow snippets, professional at high level and personal snippets about yourself, diba? Somehow people hiring managers would look at some interesting points about you. So don't sound like siguro robotic or like any other else, no? Na who sounds very the usual. So siguro more personal, no? Until you lead them to your professional background, your company.
Kaya Tito Nelson, do's and don'ts daw. What
Okay,
quickly
I'll
comes
be
to your
glad to
mind?
answer.
Any experience on that?
I'll be glad to answer because I'm from the standpoint of the interviewer. And as I said, I run two factories. So let me give you my number one tip. Okay, Lester and whoever is listening, the number one do in terms of being interviewed is to have stories that you are good in your job. Remember, it's called situation interview. I hired my operations manager, and my other operations manager interviewed the process engineer the same way. Give me an example of this. For example, I would say to this interview person, give me an example, a real life example where you reduce defects in a manufacturing line. Now, the common pitfall, especially if you're new, is to give a general answer, something theoretical. Oh, you should do this, you should do that. But the one who will capture my attention is, sir, in my past job, we had this problem. This is what we did, and the result is this. That's what will actually convince me to hire because you're speaking from actual experience. In Tagalog, walang bola. And that's why Lester and whoever else, you must always have your stories ready so that if the interviewer asks you about specific things, you'll be able to speak with tangible evidence that you'll be able to do the same good job for him.
O nga no, if ever you want to convey something, do it through story. Right, Sir Bernie?
Absolutely, stories. Tapos kung story, kagaya nung sinabi niya with Sir Nelson, it's something that's in your experience. So it's easier to sound like you're coherent. Konektado lahat yung sinasabi niyo kasi kwento niyo yan eh. So it's very good. I like yung suggestion ni Sir Nelson na alam niyo ito, it's in your background. You sound confident. You're going to deliver it awesome, obviously, because it's your experience. Tapos, ganun. I mean, you get to address that. Sa akin naman, I'm going to shift it for a second on top of everything else that what was shared. Yung do ko naman is to address your mindset and your mental health in your job search. Usually, everybody's very tactical. Pinag-uusapan, resume, LinkedIn, etc., interview. One of the components na hindi pinag-uusapan ay yung mental state ninyo. How do Olympians win the game? There's always the component of mental preparation. So huwag niyong kakalimutan yun, yung attitude ninyo. Or yung mental health ninyo. Have you been sending out too many resumes? Madaming tumatanggi, etc. Anong ginagawa niyo so that you could address you because kayo ay hindi makaka-deliver sa interview kung kayo ay hindi okay. Quick don't naman ay yung don't go into the job search na hindi nyo alam kung anong gusto ninyo kasi hindi directed yung job search ninyo. So you want to know specifically which industry, just get to as best as you can for starters, know what it is that you want so that you can go find it. Kasi kung wala kayong hinahanap, you don't know what you're looking for, you won't find it.
Oo nga no, yan yung iba na desperate na maghanap ng trabaho, 'di ba? So I think one of the lessons learned here is pag mag-a-apply kayo guys, tayo, be precise, pinpoint yung talagang a-applyan mo and wag baril ng baril. Wag send ng resume, CV, kung kani-kanino at kung saan-saan at baka ma-scam ka pa dyan. May funny experience ka ba na ganyan din, Sir Dennis?
Sorry, hindi ko naabutan. Ito, hindi yan talaga mapuputol to kasi bagong laptop to. So, in terms of yung mga bloopers, I can't recall it, pero it's more of siguro being late because of traffic. So sometimes kahit anong solid ang iyong rason, if you're late, parang it gives you already bad impression. So big no-no ang pagiging late.
Ayan. Okay, so once more, thank you, Lester. Balikan namin ulit sa second question mo, if ever.
Okay po,
Bye,
thank you po.
Lester.
Thank you po.
Ayun. Eto. Another question. Professional people get to show or pass over business cards. Diba? I'm still a student daw. Kailangan ko rin bang may business card? Paano wala akong business daw? What's your suggestion on that? Take. Pwede naman, Sir Nelson, di ba? Na may sort of card ka rin?
I have an idea for that student, no? If you are active with a student organization and you are in a high-ranking strategic position, make that business card that, let's say, whatever organization, president or vice president, something, and you have something which to show the employer, which chances are nobody else did, and you'll create a fantastic impression on that guy. Doesn't have to be business, unless you are entrepreneur while you. That's even more impressive. You are entrepreneur while you're in college. Pwede rin.
And may etiquette dyan, Sir Dennis, di ba?
Yes.
Sa mga business card.
Yeah, for the business cards, I believe there are no hard rules naman in business cards. Pero of course, kailangan may lagi kang handa. So like let's say yung binanggit ni Sir Nelson, no, yung for mga networking events, no. Sometimes they would have like parang speed networking, di ba? So you'll be given a few minutes to exchange intros and then have your business card, no. Pero ako personally I ask directly if they have a LinkedIn, no. So kung walang baon na LinkedIn, well, too bad for them. So kailangan may nakahanda akong business card, as backup.
And the business card must have your LinkedIn profile.
Of course.
Diba? Here's my business card. I'm on LinkedIn.
Sir Bernie.
I like what Sir Nelson said earlier. It's an opportunity to stand out. So kung you're just doing it with your name or whatever, na yung usual, the way I see it is you use it as a way to stand out, make it creative, make something that you hand out. So yun lang ang dagdag ko.
And it'll make you even more professional. That's the key. You're so young, you're fresh grad, but you're very professional. Wow.
Oo nga. It gives that impression. And I recently discovered po pala, no, sa LinkedIn, parang it can produce a QR code kasi nauso yung QR code. Di ba ngayon sa Philippines?
Oh, yeah.
And there is, no, I'm not very familiar with it, pero you can parang I can't recall.
I think I looked through that, Sir Joe Mark. It's on use it for your mobile app. Pati ako nakita ko minsan, doon mo mahanap yung QR code.
Oh, and then of course, yun, ibabarilin lang niya yung QR code mo and instantly you too, parang digitally you have exchanged business cards.
You just save it na lang sa phone mo.
Ayan. Eto, we have a question again. Can LinkedIn be used to post your portfolio as long as you can tell a good and consistent that reflects of how you can be of value? Of course. Right, Sir Bernie?
Absolutely. Can LinkedIn be used? Number one, Sir Dennis's point earlier, it's your way to present yourself to the world. And you said something, as long as the story reflects what it is, to have your consistent story, it's your branding. One of the things that I want to say about your portfolio is, I don't know if people know about this. There is a name pronunciation feature on LinkedIn na ginagamit ng tao to mention their name, but realize that it's a 10-second bite. Check out mine on my profile and what I say. I don't tell them how to pronounce my name. I tell my customers what I want to do for them. So that's 10 seconds for you to use it. The other thing that you have is they have this thing called creator mode on LinkedIn, where you can have a video. For you guys who like to put a video, it's another way for you to stand up. It's a 30-second bite for you to talk about your portfolio or whatever. To the original question, you could point down and say, hey, my name is Bernie Floresca. Just click to the link below to find my portfolio or something like that. So you have a 10-second sound bite, you have a 30-second video bite, so use it to your advantage to stand out.
Ayos yun, ayos yun. Okay, here's ang interesting din to. And probably I'll get to ask Sir Nelson and then Sir Dennis. Morning ano daw po, morning rituals. How do you start your day? How do you plan your day with work and the family? Parang I see mga ganitong ano din, no? A lot of people curious on how does Elon Musk, 'di ba? Bill Gates start their morning. How do you start your morning, Sir Nelson? Ano yung mga
The first
ritual
thing,
mo?
well, we're not talking about morning rituals before I leave the house. My number one morning ritual at work is that I get a sheet of paper, write down all the things that I want to do. That's my to-do list. And then afterwards, prioritize, because not all to-do lists are created equal. So now if let's say I have 10 things I want to do, but I know I cannot, no? So now I have to think which is the more pressing or the more strategic, and that gets the job done. That's my morning ritual.
Sir Dennis.
Yes, siguro just to bank on yung kay Sir Nelson, no? Yes, important yung magkaroon ng ritual kasi it sets the tone for the rest of the week. So, every morning, I used to have my quiet time, my daily devotion. Siyempre, nourishment for the soul yan eh. So, for me, talagang that's number one. So, pagkagising, I do my quiet time. And then I would frame the activities that I have, no, for the rest, for that day. Like, let's say for tonight, no, I would get siguro a sneak peek of what are the deliverables due, para at least I can already set my mind into it. So quick wins. So sometimes it's difficult to be in the state of flow, no? So for me to be in that state of flow to keep you going, siguro yung mga small wins muna, like mga menial tasks. So again, wala namang hurdles dyan, no? Pero that's just me. So I need to gain my state of flow. When I don't have it yet, I do the small stuff first. Hanggang makarami at may establish yung flow ko for the day.
Ikaw, Sir Bernie, what's your style?
Yeah, kagaya ng sabi ninyo una, pasasalamat. You know, as soon as you wake up, you're gaining consciousness. Sa akin naman, na para idagdag doon, I go back to what I said earlier about mindset. This isn't just something that I say, it's something that I practice. So it's really very important. And to Sir Dennis's point of state of flow, sa akin, ang nakakatulong, and this is personal, by the way, so you have to do what works for you. What works for me is all these sound bites, not necessarily video, but I really like to close my eyes. And kind of like Sir Dennis said, his me time. My me time is closing my eyes and just visualizing or just listening to something that's uplifting. That kind of like puts me in the mood, that puts me in the flow for the rest of the day. Is my personal go-to.
Ooh. Rayan, do you have a question?
Good evening, sir. Yung, my question is, how can I increase my chances of getting hired?
And there was silence.
There was
Silence is
silence.
golden.
I'll go
Silence
first.
is golden.
Para masabi ko bago masabi ni Sir Nelson or Sir Dennis. No, just kidding.
First
My
remark.
advice, yeah, my advice, Rayanne, is I would go quality over quantity. Lahat ng sinabi namin so far, know what kind of job you're looking for. Tailor your resume, tailor your LinkedIn so that it's speaking about you. Tapos pag alam niyo kung sinong ina-applyan ninyo, you're more directed in your approach. Tapos quality talaga yung gagawin ninyo. Ano yung sinabi nila yung sa job description? Does that show up on your CV? Does that show up on your resume? Does it show up on your LinkedIn? Ano yung sinabi nila? I don't know kung uso sa Pilipinas yung cover letter or whatever. I go back to what I said earlier about speaking their language. How do you raise your chances is speaking whatever they say they're looking for. And by the way, don't lie. Just do this if it applies to you. What I would do is I would highlight kung ano yung hinahanap nila, tapos you match it with yourself. Kung anong presenta ninyo sa kanila. And then when you come to the interview, obviously, make sure that you cover those points as well. Yeah, so hopefully that addresses your question, Rayan.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Siguro I'll go
Rayan.
next.
Yeah, go on,
Ay,
Dennis.
Sir Nelson, kayo po muna.
No, you go next.
Okay. So siguro sige, I guess let's go back to your objectives now. So like let's say you're looking for work. What kind of work, right? So I'll jump into LinkedIn. What's your objective? Creating an account on LinkedIn. So it should represent what you do, who you are and what you do. Okay. So who you are and what you do should somehow target an audience. Who are you trying to entice? To whom are you pitching, right? Regardless if you are selling something, you're selling yourself if you're looking for a job. So I think banking on what Coach Bernie mentioned, no, it's more of really tying it all together, and then go back to the basics. So for you to be to get noticed, you need to be noticeable. And how would you be noticeable? Create those digital portfolios of yours. So it's not just merely your job title. What have you done during those stints with those companies, right? And there plays the content strategy na ginagawa halos lahat ng mga kasama natin dito. So it's not just about just putting out content there, but there's an art and an effective way of doing it. Pero anything you can do, kasi content is still content. You will still, with the help of LinkedIn's algorithm, you will still get noticed as long as you have the right audience on your or in your network. So I hope that helps.
I love that, Dennis. And let me build on what he said and also what Bernie said, Rayan. I presume you're also an engineering student. And what Dennis said is that what did you do? Let's also bring it another level. You must be able to show the employer what happened to your previous company as a result of you being there, for the better, for the worse. Okay. The other one is, okay, this another way I'll put how we answer that question. Remember, each employer has a problem to solve. Otherwise, he's not going to look for people like you. May problema yan. That's why he needs people to help solve those problems. And therefore, Rayan, if you're going to be in an interview, you want to be hired quickly, he must first find out the pain point of that employer. What is the problem he wants to solve? Then you must package yourself as that solution. That means, like we said earlier, you have to do research on a company, what they do, the core values, the problems they have, and then you can give an intelligent answer. Sir, I know that this is what you are dealing with. I can help you with this. And if you have the story to give a specific instance, boy, you are going to be miles ahead of your competition. And that's how you can get hired quickly. Does that help you, Rayan?
Yes po, thank you po.
Okay. Ayan. So, thank you, Rayan. Aha. Parang related to kanina sa morning ritual. Ano daw ang what's your ano daw po? What's your favorite productivity app tool?
I'm going to start. I like Google Docs and OneNote because it captures my thoughts in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's available whether I'm working on the laptop or I'm working on my phone or I happen to be up and around at the grocery store. Kung kailangan mo, kasi hindi mo alam kung kailan yung inspiration when it shows up. So productivity tool, I like anything online where I can capture my thoughts. So specifically right now, OneNote and Google Docs. Sometimes I even email myself and just keep it in draft form.
Yeah. How about you, Sir Nelson?
Google Calendar. So I make sure I have this particular things on this day, and I tell the smartphone or whatever to ting ting ting. Oh, you have this meeting. You have to finish this project. That's so that keeps me on track.
Oh.
Yeah, for me, no particular app, but I most of the time I use Trello. So same as with
Trello.
Trello, yeah. So most of the time, like Coach Bernie mentioned, I do capture my thoughts if like when I write something because I also do write in Medium. So I just put it in there. Kahit raw data lang yan. So once it pops, I just put it on there. So, Trello. And my notes, yan, punong-puno. Punong-puno siya ngayon.
Okay, another question from Raymond Mapalad. Any opinion on SSI, Selling Index scores on LinkedIn? I'm not familiar with this. Or how can companies use it, or how can it help you as relevant here in the Philippines LinkedIn hiring landscape? So, uh, any thoughts on that? I'm not familiar with SSI.
Familiar with it. Probably what Raymond is asking is more siguro kapag business ka. Kasi for corporate accounts, no, you can... So, I assume it's probably there in that corporate account, no, for that SSI. But for me, siguro for the individual piece, no, like let's say I want to pitch something, depende sa aking objective. So, by merely posting it, I think it was a feature na pumasok lang noong 2019 that whenever you post, you can see the number of views, no? And I think that's a good leverage on how many people can see your content. Because when you put out content and having an objective in mind, right? So, and there are a lot of people seeing it. So I think depends sa objectives mo, then I think you're hitting your target, no? So I think just to somehow speak about the measurement, no? Although I don't have any business account, I'm not familiar with the SSI. Baka probably it could help. Yeah, the stories behind the numbers.
Okay, so here's another question. Oo nga naman. How to be promotable daw? Do I have to be a KA 47? Kiss ass 47 to be promoted? Your thoughts?
Yeah, siguro I'll go first, no? So, again, siguro banking on what you uttered earlier, John Mark, no? The first time I heard it, AK-47, but of course it's not unusual, no? It's very common. So, we can't deny about that in every company.
Yeah,
There's an
my
element of
favorite.
organizational dynamics, no? So
Mm.
let's face it. So it's all about relationship. Sometimes being skilled, or you as a product, you have many features. But like let's say if you're vying for a really critical post, no, so that element comes in, no? But in any way, I believe that success or the how our careers evolve is not just a straight line or a vertical ladder. No, so it really depends on how you view things holistically. I would always share in my content, siguro a number of times, you are not determined. Your value is not determined by your job title alone, or ano man yung role mo, no? So I guess if you have a clear picture of your value, other than having a high salary and a good job title, then I think you would be able to see the essence of your value. And therefore, if you use all these competencies na binanggit nila Coach Bernie, ni Coach Nelson, and ni Coach Jomar, then I think you will be in a better place, no, to be promotable. So use LinkedIn. Be out there.
I guess it's my turn. Mukhang hinighlight mo ako, John Mark. Yes.
That's deliberate.
All right, so what I have to say, how to be promotable, you should be performing at the next level. I repeat, you should be performing at the next level. If you're performing at the next level, you'll be catching their eye. So you should be doing all the things that the next level is doing so that it's an easy choice for management. Hey, this person's already doing what we're looking for, promotable material. So the second piece to that is what I mentioned earlier when it comes to business relations. And Sir Dennis just spoke about it. It's the relationships, it's the politics internally. So sure, you can do the person-to-person relation because you see them. If you don't, use LinkedIn, to Sir Dennis's point. And promotable doesn't necessarily mean within the same company. If you're out there on LinkedIn talking about whatever you want to get promoted is, that's your content. How you fix this project, you can get promoted to the next level even outside your company by using LinkedIn.
I love that. And that's also what I'll advise the person who posed the question. And the way I would say it is this: how to be promotable, do your boss job, at least some of it. And because the proof is in the pudding, you don't say that you're ready to be promoted. You are showing that you are promotable. And the way to do it is like this, tactica. You ask, boss, I finished my work. Is there something of your job, sort of like that, no? Of your job I can help you with or do it for you? Now, your boss may be thinking that, hey, good, extra pair of hands. Sige, you'll do this, and guess what? Like Bernie said, you're doing your boss job. And make sure the relationship then is right, that you are promoting yourself in a good way. People know about it. So you have the best of both worlds. You're doing your boss job. People, especially the boss of your boss, knows it. And so that whether the boss is retiring or there's an extra, or there's a opportunity in another department or in another branch, that's going to be your opportunity to be promoted, hands down.
Okay. So hindi lang KA.
KA.
Huwag masyadong kumay. Ayan. So, I have experiences on that din, no, na some of my hindi talaga mawawala yung mga bagay na ganyan because we're all humans. Thank you so much for that perspective. Hi, Emmy Rose.
Hello po.
Ayan. Thank you sa tanong mo.
For you, Sir Dennis, for Sir Verdi po, I review your profile po kasi, and I'm curious about the 5 focus areas po. What do you mean
Wow.
by that po?
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for doing your homework. So that's the number thing that we talk about when you're looking for a job. So the 5 focus areas, we kind of spoke about it, and most of these topics that we're talking about right now address those 5 focus areas. The first one is job specifics. What is it that you're looking for? Yun yung sinabi natin una, yung alam nyo kung anong industriya, alam nyo kung anong trabaho, that sort of stuff. You have to be clear on what you want para mahanap ninyo. Number 2 was your resume. Tailor it to the employer. Number 3 was your LinkedIn. Tailor it to the job descriptions that we're talking for. Number 4 was what I mentioned earlier. It's your mental health. It's your mindset. Are you a win attitude? Kung naghahanap kayo ng trabaho, marami you always get rejected. So medyo, down yung attitude natin. What are you doing to keep that up? Kasi kung baga, Ang job search, parang sales job yan eh. Sometimes you have good and bad days. You got an interview. Tapos mamaya, you were a candidate for another job. Tapos hindi kayo tinawagan. So job search is like this. So what are you doing to keep your mental state para ganun kayo and you can be effective in your job search? And last but not the least, business relations. How are you connecting to people to find out about your industry, to find your coaches, to find your mentors, and creating those relationships? And I'm going to tie it to the last question as to how to be promoted and working at the next level. So yun lang.
Siya lang ba talaga, Emmy? Ay, tatanungin mo?
I heard Sir Dennis was put on the spot.
Ayan. Anyways. Oh, here. Thank you. Thank you, Emmy. Okay, next one. Ito, no, para sa mga napipilitan ata. Napipilitan. Tips on how to create a career you love. Tama ba pagkakaintindi ko? Sometimes, di ba? There are people who do it for the money. There are people who do it for passion. Okay? Ayan po. What's your take on that? Parang ganun yun eh. Money, passion eh. Sir Dennis.
Ayoko magsalita eh. Gusto ko may mauna eh.
And Bernie spotlighted again.
Yes.
Oh, now it's my pick.
Okay, so I'll answer that. Siguro, yeah. I think very very apparent yan eh when you see, do the work that you love. Ayan. Pero like what I would always say, there's no such thing as a one size fits all, diba? And I would always say to people who approach me or my mentees na it's a daily walk. So our career is also like exploring, right? So like let's say someone asked me, I finished this 4-degree course, but later I realized that that I wanted something else. So what I told him, so there's no hard rules on that, but what I can suggest, but still at the end of the day, it's still your call. You have already earned those 4 years. You have trained for 4 years already, specifically being a bookkeeper. Yeah. So why not use that, especially use that competency or training that you have learned during those 4 years? Sayang eh, right? That's your strength. So if you're like let's say practicality standpoint, if you're a breadwinner and you need to pay the bills, no, so why not use that strength and capitalize later on exploring your other interest? Kasi hindi lang naman yan nag-iisa eh, di ba? Hindi man kailangan isa. You can build multiple acts. So if you have watched this TEDx talk about multi-potentialite, I forgot who was the speaker then. No? So hindi ka dapat ma-confine sa isa. Okay? So what I suggest, if graduate ka na, strength mo na yan eh. You need to polish it na lang eh. No? You execute that knowledge, and then if you want to explore for more of your interest, then go for it. Sa Filipino nga, sabi nga nila, kapag may gusto, may paraan. Kung ayaw, may dahilan. So that's just it for me.
Okay, may I suggest something for Lester? Is it same Lester who asked a question? How to create a career love? I like that question. You know, many people are passive. They're just waiting for the career to fall into their lap, or they're just letting the employer dictate the terms. I like that implied statement that you're creating your own future. And the way I would advise people like you is to pursue passionate mastery. It builds on what Dennis said. Find out what you mastered, the thing that you're good at. But I'd like to add something more. It must be something that you're good at and you love doing it, because that's where you have the enjoyment, wherein then the career that you love. If you can see this, I don't know if you can see this. This is a passion mastery matrix, wherein it's in this book, Soaring High. Okay, so find out about this. It gives you a grid. It's a grid wherein you make a list of the things you can do well, and a list that you love doing it. And if there's an intersection, that's going to be your sweet spot, and that's where you can find your passion mastery. Wherein, if that's the one, boy, you are willing to do it for free. But the fact that somebody's paying you the big bucks, wow, that's quite a life that you're living the dream, and that will be the career that you love.
Okay, I guess Lester, what's your question?
Yes po. Next naman po yun. What are your advice to people who are losing their interest in their selected career?
Nawawalan na ng gana.
Yes po. Parang
Magre-resign
ganun.
ba ako
Ano po yung
agad?
mga advice niya?
Magre-resign ba ako agad, Sir Bernie? Muted ka, sir.
Thank you. I'll go back to what I said earlier. Yung mindset, importante yan. And you notice that I practice it, even me in my daily thing. So I'm not sure what it is that works for you. Kung nawawalan ka ng gana, that means there's something that you're focusing on na hindi mo gusto. Kung nawawalan ka ng gana, you're focusing on something na hindi mo gusto. So part of what I preach is lead your thoughts. Can you find something sa trabaho mo ngayon that you enjoy, that you like, and focus on that instead? Kasi once you start focusing yung nakakuha ng gana, downward spiral na yan. So you have the power to lead your thoughts, focus on something that it is that you want. Kung talagang wala, tsaka ka mag-resign.
Ikaw, Sir Dennis, i-relate natin sa na minsan, di ba, may times na kahit hindi na related sa minsan nawawalan tayo ng gana sa isang bagay. Ayan, anong ginagawa mong kiliti to your own self para, mo yun, ganahan ka ulit sa whatever it is you're doing or something?
Yeah, I think, just to address Lester's question, I think routineness is already part of our daily lives, no? Yung paulit-ulit to. And I think if kapag autopilot ka na pagising mo, di ba? Pre-pandemic, pagising mo, when you wake up, toothbrush, kain, toothbrush, ligo, commute, tapos traffic pa, di ba? Parang Monday to Friday. Kaya most of the time, kapag Friday na, that is the day where most of us enjoy, no? Yung Friday. We hate Mondays, we love Fridays because nearing weekend na. So I think that's just normal to feel bored. And when you feel bored, siguro think of it na maybe, just maybe, that am I doing something new in my routine? Do I hold the value systems or do I understand or recognize my value systems? So ano yung mga value systems na yun? Iko-connect mo yun sa trabaho mo. Like binanggit ni Coach Nelson, ni Coach Bernie, na you need to find parang what's interesting in your job. Kasi hindi lahat naman ng aspeto ng trabaho gusto natin. There are some things in our job that we don't like and some parts of it that we like. So that's just normal. Package yan. Pero siguro just to go a little deeper, you need to understand what means to you. So like let's say if you can connect it with so I love this part of my job because it connects me to my interest to like being a personal finance enthusiast, di ba? So like let's say nasa accounting field ka like me, tapos somehow medyo na-touch yun, yung trabaho mo na interesado ka. So why not do your own side hustle, no? So minsan ang kadalasang impression ng mga tao sa side hustle, dinikit ko yung side hustle or racket. Kasi yung racket, akala ng karamihan is that yung racket para lang meron akong income. So bonus yun, talagang karamihan for income, di ba? Pero others don't realize that they explore or they discover na ito pala yung gusto kong gawin, no? So why not I do that? Sometimes it enhances your skill. So ito na yung gusto kong gawin naman, ha. Gusto ko lang i-enhance pa, i-raise the bar. Hindi ako mabigyan ng opportunity ng kumpanya ko, then I'll make a way. I'll create a way on how I can expand or raise that bar. So maraming aspeto. Boredom, that's normal, no? So you don't just siguro quit unless or with the exception na talagang the environment or your boss is toxic. Pero there are so many ways. So siguro ang sagot ko lang dyan, in short, is siguro more of explore, no? Ang daming pwedeng gawin, limitless yan. So don't put boundaries, no? So maraming ruta para hindi ka mabore. Ayan.
I like that thing. And Lester, if I may add to what the two gentlemen said, if you say, I'm demotivated, if I were to coach you, I will say first, why are you demotivated? What's causing the demotivation? It's reflect then explore. Because then if you say, I'm demotivated because of this, then, okay, short version, you find out what demotivates you, then ask yourself, what can you do about it? Because if you find out that you are in control, you have power, that actually energizes you, brings you out of the demotivation. Okay, so for example, I'm bored, but Cal Newport made an excellent book, so good they cannot ignore you. Boredom is good because it gives you the opportunity to master your craft. In fact, if you're bored, the tip I will give is that you compete against yourself. Can you be better? Better. And that's exciting. Then no more demotivation. Or is it because I'm demotivated because my boss is a horrible boss from hell? That's another story. What can you do? I'm demotivated because my pay is low. What can you do? I'm demotivated because this. So what is the focus of your demotivation and what can you do about it? And to add to what Bernie said, only when it's something that is against your values, like say you're asked to do something unethical, then you may want to say, bye-bye.
Siguro if I can add, no, maganda yung sinabi ni Sir Nelson, no. So sometimes siguro we have those old thinking patterns, no. Yung algorithm ng utak natin kapag may indicator na, we ignore. So tama yung sinabi ni Sir Nelson, I love it, no. Yung point na parang dissect mo muna sa nga ba nang gagaling. And then kapag nag-trigger 'yon, so we confront on how we can solve that. Parang funnel 'yan eh, parang sales funnel, no. So i-screen na yung screen, i-filter mo na i-filter hanggang makuha mo kung ano talaga yung problema. Yes.
Ayun. Thank you, Lester. Eto siguro kay ano to. Unahin natin si Sir Nelson dito.
Bah! Go on.
Sa kanya
Joe Mark, please read the question.
Why join Why join Toastmasters? Why public speaking? Ano effect nun sa career ko? 'Di ba?
Okay.
Is it very
And
advantageous or baka gawing MC lang ako tuwing Christmas party?
And by the way, what's wrong between being in an MC in a Christmas party? You're going to be visible.
Yeah.
I credit Toastmasters for giving me the confidence to run those two factories. There was a time that I was jobless for quite some time. My self-esteem went down. So I joined Toastmasters because it helped me in two ways. One, communicate better. Two, run a club. Okay, we have clubs. Okay, so I'm part of the leadership of the club. That gave me the self-confidence more of being a leader. So that then when my boss offered me one factory, I said yes. Then later, he gave me a second factory to run. I credit Toastmasters for two things, communication and leadership. And if you want to learn more about it, we can talk about it offline. It's a wonderful experience. Don't miss it.
Your take, Sir Bernie, public speaking.
Public speaking. I've never been part of Toastmasters, but I think we were speaking about this earlier with Sir Nelson na merong stereotype na sa mga inhinyero, mga engineer. We don't have communication skills. We don't have people skills. One of my differences going through college, because I was constantly like in debates and stuff from the College of Engineering and Architecture. To Sir Nelson's point, it builds your confidence. It builds your ability to be visible. So from that perspective, and I'll tie it back to you looking for a job, it highlights those things that you want to be visible. So with the confidence in your interview, with the way you communicate your ideas and speak, especially on the fly, because that's one of the things that I appreciate. One of my college mentors happens to be very active in Toastmasters, but I think they do prep speeches or extemporaneous speeches. It's like practice for you to answer on the fly, which is really transferring what you have out here into speaking eloquently and elegantly. So yun lang.
If I may add, Bernie, and also the person who asked that, remember, perception is reality. Let me repeat, perception is reality. You may not be the best engineer, but if you're projecting as a confident communicator, well, they'll buy you hook, line, sinker versus a guy who's really good but is quiet. That's the reality. And so if you want to have your aura, your brand, Toastmasters can help you in terms of being a good public speaker and also being a effective leader.
Tama, Sir Dennis, no? If you want to be a CEO or yan, maraming nagsasabi-sabi din ng ganyan, di ba? You have to be a good public speaker, di ba, Sir Dennis?
Yan, totoo yan. So, just to second what Sir Bernie and Sir Nelson said, no, I think being a communicator has a lot of advantages. Eh. You look smart if you are a good communicator. No? So in my case, well, I didn't have the chance to join Toastmasters or be part of it, but I have been with various organizations, no, that somehow molded me, no, put me on the spot and speak to big audiences. So me as an introvert, no, well, accidental lang talaga yung pag-invite sa akin in speaking engagements eh. So I'm an introvert, no? So it's a character. So when you say introvert, you'll be having sweaty hands when you talk, and I think some people still experience that. Me, I still experience that, having butterflies in my stomach. But definitely when they see you out there, no, so there's a lot of advantages, eh? Because by merely putting yourself out there and posting it on LinkedIn, then yeah, so expect people to message you.
Yeah.
And, have work collaborations with you. So yes, it's very
Yeah.
important to have the skill of to polish your communication skills.
Yeah. I love what Dennis said. Can you imagine this? You are known for public speaking, you have a gig, and you post it in your LinkedIn profile. Then the employer says, wait, this is a accomplished speaker, communicator. Let me interview him. Because at the end of the day, you cannot afford not to communicate. In fact, the higher you go up the corporate ladder, the more you need to be a communicator.
Yes. Okay, so guys, ayan, no? Feel free to reach out to Sir Nelson with regards to being part of Toastmaster.
Message me by LinkedIn.
Hello, Ray Ann.
Hello po.
Yep.
My question po is, what is your recruiting strategy as an HR employee?
Wow.
Thank you.
Recruiting strategy.
Sure, if I may, yeah. So I'm not part of HR, no, but I'm a hiring manager as well. I've been a hiring manager as well. So there are various companies selecting resumes. There are two categories kasi. First is through the ATS system, like an application tracking system. So once you submit your resume, it goes into this, there's a software bought or acquired by a company. You program keywords there. So they program keywords to screen you if you would move into the next phase. So I guess one strategy is that if you're applying for work, look at the roles and responsibilities like what Sir Bernie mentioned, no? Because those words imputed in that process responsibility or that job description would most likely be the keywords that are stored in that program, no? And be sure you have it. Hindi lang lalagyan mo or ipapattern mo. Second thing is, in terms of recruiting strategy, of course, I would want someone who's not just like, let's say it's a technical position. So of course it's a given. So if everyone is a graduate of IT, so it's a given that you should understand and know to do your craft. And I think doon napapasok yung soft skills mentioned ni Sir Nelson and ni Sir Bernie, no? Na if you know how to express yourself during that interview, if you know how to sell your contributions during that interview, if you impress the interviewees by being transparent and honest with your weaknesses na hindi mo masagot-sagot, marami akong naka-encounter na nagpapa-interview sa dami-dami lang strengths nila, aba, wala daw silang weakness, di ba? So if you would be transparent about that phase and tell them how you bounce back, di ba, on those weaknesses, and you need to give concrete examples to highlight that point. And I think most probably you would be part of the top candidates to be selected. No?
Thank you,
So there's
sir.
no easy life hack. No? So you undergo that process and be mindful of those points. That's basic.
Rayan, I'll give you one secret of my employer. Okay, we are in Santa Rosa, Laguna. One of the recruitment strategy is to hire graduates from nearby universities. Okay, people will say, I'm not from the top three in Manila or whatever, but that's not our market, because our thinking is like this. We have a plant in Santa Rosa. If you are a graduate, especially with good academic record from a nearby college or university, you have an edge. You know why? You're nearby. You know the culture, you know the community, and if you're really, really good, we can develop you once you're inside. So the point is, you may not want to go too far. If you're in a certain province or location, find out what will be the nearby factories. If you are, let's say, if you're an engineer, you want to work in a factory, what are the nearby factories or other IT or is it BPO that you want to work in? Because that's where we're going to say, oh, this guy has advantage because he is nearby and he is from a university that we recognize. So that will be one tip for you, Rayan.
Thank you po.
Mm. Awesome. Thank you, Rayan. Oh, yan. Para sa akin naman daw.
Yeah, ikaw naman, Joe Mark.
Is it very different from IT grad in comparison to multimedia arts? Well, marami na kaming naging OJT interns na galing sa IT. When it comes to multimedia arts, ano kasi yan parang creative. It's a creative IT. Now, this is the advantage now what we're seeing with regards to computer-related students. Napakalaki nung opportunities sa inyo. And I've seen a lot of students na IT grad, naging cashier. Imagine that. What I think is yung pangyayaring ganun, it really boils down din kung who are you with. Sino yung nag-influence sa'yo? Because what we're seeing right now is there really is a huge opportunity sa IT, no? Hindi ka pareho ng kunyari, mechanical engineer, 'di ba? Ano matututunan i-operate yung boiler kung wala kang boiler? How much does a boiler cost, 'di ba? Unlike na when you're into computer stuff, nandiyan lang naman yung computer, yun yung sigurong unang hurdle, 'di ba, computer. Pero there are so much opportunities with regards to IT, and I have seen many people, I have met tons of people na hindi nga graduate actually. They're just good at computers and they established businesses, 'di ba? I'm sure kahit hindi na yung level nila Mark Zuckerberg na hindi niya tinapos daw yung college. Kahit hindi na gano'n, there are a lot of heroes here na hindi na tinapos din yung college who created their own company now. Yun na din masasabi ko, no? It depends kung sino yung kasama mo na mag-i-influence sa'yo ng ano. Pero napakadami. The way things are going, everything is, ano, di ba? Heading to or papunta lahat sa computers, automation, AI, blockchain, cloud. And with regards naman yan, sa creative stuff, yan, graphic design, multimedia, again, I know a lot of persons na hindi necessarily graduate, na employed sila, no, na ang ganda ng trabaho nila. I know someone na hindi graduate na galing sa Ubisoft. He's very good at ZBrush, yung ginagamit Sir Bernie ng pang-sculpt ng mga figurine toys. It uses a software named ZBrush. Now, he has clients abroad. So, hindi siya paper na may graduate na diploma. His clients abroad, he's earning dollars. He's at the comfort of his home doing what he loves. So, yun lang din ang challenge sa mga IT students. You know? Napakalaki ng opportunity nyo. Sana hanapin nyo yun. Napakadami, sobra, promise. Feel free to ask me, to ask any of us. Not only IT, ayan. So, hope that answers your question. Okay, next one. Oh, ito, mabigat-bigat to na konti na tanong. Paano daw to, Sir Dennis? May gap ako sa resume. Oh, this is always a question, di ba?
Yeah, siguro again, depende kasi ito sa sa mga hiring companies, no. So hindi siya it's subjective, no. So in terms of gaps, siguro let's see yung anong ginawa mo during I think this is most common lalo na sa mga mommies, no, who would pause a bit and take care of their children, and then siguro kapag medyo malaki na yung mga anak, then they would wish to go back to the workforce, no. I think sa ganitong cases, no, I can speak siguro for myself, pero for the people who I know, so it's more of really what I mention or share also. It's more of going back from scratch, creating experiences. So like let's say parang ang standpoint mo, parang kang fresh grad ulit, no. So like right now, lalo na ngayong pandemic, yung unemployment rate mas lalong gumrabe, right? So there was this one of these students, no, sa audience nung I had this talk is anong gagawin ko kasi ang dami ng kalaban no, 'di ba? Ang kalaban ko mga junior 1 to 2 years and yung mga nag-graduate nitong recently na. So what should I do? So I say there's no, again, life hack. Pero if you have already determined, no, your skills, and I believe everyone has those skills, no, each one of us has those talents or skills. You just need to be intentional to discover it, or you have already earned it already through your degree or schooling or through experience. Do it. Pero kung wala ka pang experience, what I would say is why not offer that? Find a community where you can share those experiences. Like for instance, I don't know, maybe for other nonprofit organization, if you know how to do admin work, or whether you're from IT, then reach out to their officers. Then sell those services for free. And instantly, you would be gaining again experiences, hindi ka kinalawang, and eventually, you have something to put on your resume. So we don't just build resume. First and foremost, we need to build or rebuild those experiences. So if you have gaps, you need to rebuild those skills to finding or creating your own experiences.
Sir Tito Nelson, what's your parang take on that? Nakita ko rin yan eh. Talagang laging tinatanong yung pag may gap ka sa resume. How do you justify that? Ano yung perception ng HR dyan, hiring manager, pag may gap sa resume?
Well, to be honest, if I were the recruiter, remember I hire people, I would first be suspicious what happened to you, but I will give you benefit of the doubt. So I will still ask assuming the interview went pushed through, no, I'll ask, what did you do in the middle, in the gap, no, and what did you learn? If he is able to show me good reasons why he's out of the job market and he was actually a better person out of it, I may give him a chance. But to be honest, I would rather see somebody who's continuous and with a certain career trajectory, because let's face it, uh, I can give the guy a chance, but it's probably a second chance, not so much as a frontliner.
How about you, Sir Bernie? Any tips?
Yeah, I guess may dadagdag ko dyan is to address the elephant in the room to what's been shared so far. To Sir Nelson's point, they obviously prefer somebody with a continuous history or whatever, but one of the things, it's all packaging naman yan eh, sa resume. Like they say, I've seen moms who took off to take care of their kids to actually put that on LinkedIn or on their resume. So that's what I mean about address the elephant in the room. And then to go beyond that, if you have these skills that you're working on, I read this story online about this guy who didn't have a job at Uber. So ang ginawa niya, he polled all his friends, asking them what could be improved on, etc., etc. And then he made that his personal project. And that's what he sold to Uber. Kasi yung Uber, they're out-of-box thinkers. So he knew that he had to demonstrate that he was an out-of-box thinker. So guess what? There was no door for him to do that, but he created his own door. So yung mga sinasabi na ngayon, yung Sir Nelson said, they would ask you what it is that you did. You could create a project for you na pwedeng ilagay sa resume or sa LinkedIn.
Okay, so grabe, napasarap ang kwentuhan. Okay, let's have a quick let's do the raffle draw, and let me give the floor to each of you to promote your books. I guess starting with Sir Bernie.
Yeah, I guess it was mentioned earlier, 5 focus areas to get hired fast. All I really request right now is just send me an email to bernie@berniefloresca.com and check me out on LinkedIn. So yun lang.
Okay, so I guess yung details din, Sir Bernie, ay nasa, tama ba, sa YouTube channel mo, which I'm flashing right now.
I'm glad you brought that up. So kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Dennis earlier, I've been a content creator for a while, and I wasn't necessarily focusing on YouTube. But the power of LinkedIn, again, through my connections, through my business relations with people, somebody said, your YouTube, how come you're not using that? So I packaged it as well. So all those details are in my LinkedIn, and it links it to YouTube right now. That's content that I've been sharing on how to get hired fast. And please check it out.
Yep, so check out that ebook. Next, Sir Dennis.
Yes. Yes, please follow me. I give away a free ebook. So, Struggling to Thriving. So what you just need to do is connect with me, and then go to my, there you go, featured, go to my feature in my LinkedIn account, and then it will direct you to the link where you can get your free ebook. Yeah, Struggling to Thriving.
So once more, sirdennis.com. Struggling to, what's this book all about? Once more, Sir Dennis.
Yeah, maybe you would want to get a hand of it, John Mark. So it's my journey throughout, on how to find a fulfilling career. Ayan. So just to give you a snapshot about it.
Awesome.
It's a quick read. It's a quick read.
Without giving away too many secrets, I read it. He is sharing a lot of breakthrough ideas, and each of them is fabulous. So congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Ayan. How about you, Tito Nelson?
If I may ask Nelsie, there you go. to flash or share screen that. There you go. So I am privileged to have published 12 books. 3 of them are about career. So that's your first job, your career roadmap, and soaring high. So if you have a lot of practical tips from my 30 years, how to get hired fast, how to get promoted fast, what to do with the terrible boss, how to retire early and well, even to that point, those are the books for you. And as I said, you cannot have a good career purpose if you do not know what you want in life, your life purpose. So this from Anvil, is this all there is? And the other one is we are in the middle of this intergenerational workplace environment. So if you're a millennial, you are, your boomer boss driving you crazy, or you're the boomer manager, your millennial stuff is driving you crazy. This one, okay, boomer, tell me why. It's co-authored between me and a millennial writer. This also where we share tips how to have a mutually respectful dialogue about career, relationships, social media, etc. There's more of that. Please check my website, nelsontd.com. Follow me on LinkedIn, it's over there. And you can email me at nelsontd.com@gmail.com. And so we look forward to having we continue this conversation together.
Okay, meron pa tayong few questions siguro para rin maano ko yung raffle draw na pinangako. So let me just share a quick video about what LinkedIn Learning is.
At LinkedIn, we know what it takes to create high-quality learning content. Our team of industry experts is focused on creating engaging content that's relevant to your employees, impactful to your business, and produced in a way that keeps learners coming back for more. That's why L&D pros at 78 of the Fortune 100 companies choose LinkedIn Learning. Everything we do starts with the learner. We take the time to dive deep into data from the world's largest professional network to understand the skills people and businesses need, exploring LinkedIn-specific insights that no one else has, like what jobs are currently trending and the skills that are most in demand. Our course library is powered by the LinkedIn network, allowing us to keep up with the rapid, ever-changing demand for hard and soft skills, and empowering us to create an incredibly deep course library that's always fresh and up to date. Once we know the courses your learners and your business need, we find passionate industry experts to teach them. Every instructor has credible, real-world experience, so the content is not only relevant, but also immediately applicable. Each instructor is paired with a content producer who has experience in both instructional design and film production. Producers support the instructors, helping them build engaging courses and coaching them to bring out their best performance. All the way from recording to delivery, our creative teams work together to craft studio-caliber visuals and sound that deliver the most impactful learning experience. Every step of the process is designed to deliver skill-based content in a clear and compelling manner. Because we know that relevant, expertly produced content is a crucial part of every truly engaging learning experience. And it's those experiences that create lifelong learners.
Ayan, there's so much to learn in LinkedIn Learning. Sobra po. So I hope once more you invest more in education than entertainment. Sobrang dami. May it be creative, technology. Ayan, sobrang dami. Actually, Yun. Be a quick learner. Yeah, never stop learning. And of course, don't forget to read the books recommended by you, by Sir Nelson, Sir Dennis, Sir Bernie. Uh, in the future, please share a screenshot of that ebook, no, and share us your thoughts, experiences on how awesome their book is, and of course your feedback on how they can improve their book, or possibly a new suggested title, di ba? Anyways, going back, last few questions before we wrap things up. Mahalaga pa rin itong mga to, kaya hindi natin kailangang iwanan. Eto, ano daw po, your tips in salary negotiation. Eto, problema ng mga technical person to, no? Ang galing mo nga, pero hindi ka magaling makipagnegosasyon. So, eventually, you found out yung sahod ng kasama mo, mas mahirap pa ginagawa mo, mas malaki sahod niya sa'yo. And it's all because of your fault for not being good at salary negotiation. Ngayon, nalaman mo yon, nagtampo ka, nag-resign. So, how do we prevent that? Kahit sino na. Who would like to go first?
Yeah, siguro I'll go first. In terms of salary negotiation, no, so I would recall during my when the job offers always placed, no, I would look at the offer, no. I think based in my industry, there's a standard base rate not really acceptable but observed, and it's a matter of also understanding that the current market for that post, no. And be mindful also that companies, in the perspective of an employer, they also have this is already the budget within their range, you know. It's already standard rate, or it could be the highest rate, especially if you are coming off from already a high rate, and then when it falls under their grade na papasok yon, so probably they have already considered that exception. So you need to be careful, of course, in case you want to leverage for salary negotiation. But I have tried that in the past, and by God's grace, it was given to me, no, that increase. First, what I did in order to have to negotiate a higher job offer salary, it's more of really justifying why you're asking for that increase, right? So it could be presenting very well, of course, where you are right now, and then reinforcing what you can offer them. No, of course, you need to acknowledge that, and you need to thank them because for coming up with that, for coming up of selecting you and placing that respectable offer. Because I'm very sure that's already a respectable offer. So if you want to have an increase or negotiate for more, then you need to justify it. Why? So how? By leveraging where you are right now, and then leveraging and contribute, as mentioned by Coach Bernie and Coach Nelson a while ago. So that's all, Jomar. You're on mute, Jomar.
Sir Nelson, your tips on salary negotiation.
Oh, tell me about it. I have workers at the factory who are asking for higher pay, and and especially it's that season where we're supposed to have their salary adjustment after all those PIDAS and all those PIP and all that. Do you know the language? First of all, you must also have a mind of the context because it may be legitimate, it may be valid, legitimate for the employer to say, we have gone through a pandemic. This has been a tough year. Earnings are not that well. So you have to understand that part. However, there are several ways to go about it. First of all, number one tip, if your HR has a job leveling mechanism, find out where you are and see if you can go to the next higher pay scale. In other words, know the system rather than just going, I want a higher raise. Maybe you have to be doing your homework there. The second one is probably you may not be having a higher pay, but maybe higher benefits or higher responsibilities that can be your leverage for higher pay later. So think long term. The other way would be like you may be thinking about how to justify your higher salary, have more skills. Show your employer not just that you've done a lot, but you have inherent worth so that they'll be afraid to say no to you. Okay, that will be the other tip for you. So those are my takes, Joe Mark.
Sir Bernie, how do I prevent myself by being told ridiculous? Are you kidding me?
How do you prevent yourself? Do your research is the first thing that I would say, both from hearsay, your friends, etc., etc., and Glassdoor. Ginagamit ba sa Pilipinas?
Yes,
Glassdoor is one way to get to kind of like gauge it. And to Sir Nelson's point earlier, you're not just asking for the raise. Give them a reason to give you the raise and have proof to show them so that they can't say, "Are you kidding me?" Make it too obvious for them that you are due for an increase because of your production.
Thank you. May pahabol, no? Eto, there has been a practice of employers asking for payslip. Do I need to show my payslip if they're asking for my payslip, or can I say it's confidential? May mga instances yan, Sir Dennis eh. Maraming nagtatanong din sa akin yan. What's your take on that? Pag hinihingi yung payslip, patingin muna before namin bigyan ka ng job offer. Paano yun?
Of course, that's very necessary. You need to respond to that request. So first of all, it's not just you can't just bank on this is mine. So why are you asking for it? No, pero at the back end, payroll also requests those copies because of course they need to check if you have existing loans, salary loans, or you are consistently being remitted by your employer, right? So it's not just looking at the aspect of how much you're earning so that we know what to offer you o makatipid kami sa inyo, right? So there are valid reasons why employers are asking for that. So that's a stat regulation for compliance, and you need to respond to that call.
Sir Nelson, have you asked someone else's payslip before?
No, and I don't think our HR does that.
Okay. Ayan. Thank you so much for your thoughts, and I guess this is the last ano na lang, no? Last na daw talaga. Grabe. Please share to us your greatest lessons learned from the pandemic for us to conclude this evening.
I'll start. The greatest lesson I learned from the pandemic was taking a step back. Before the pandemic, go tayo ng go. Ang mangyayari, deadlines, etc., etc. One of the things that the pandemic offered was it shut everything down to a point where I had to take a step back. And yun yung sinabi ni Sir Dennis kanina na me time. Guess what? It was an extended me time to reflect on what was going on, making assessments, and currently recalibrating or repivoting to like my future goals. So that was the biggest lesson that I got from the pandemic.
Thank you so much.
Yep, I can go next. Yep. So in terms of pandemic, it's really a humbling experience. No, so first, of course, there are some loved ones, no, or close friends who were, who was hit by the pandemic. So that's the dark side of it. And of course, by grace, we're still here, protected. So it's a gift. Life is a gift. Second point is in terms of money making opportunities. I was also a direct hit, should I say, because of course I have real estate investments, and my wife also does property management. It became a direct hit. No? So most of our tenants are foreigners, and they left the country because it's lockdown. And why do I need to rent a place if I can do it from home? I work from home. right? But it pushed us to, find ways on how we can somehow bounce back. All right. So not necessarily in real estate, probably for other avenues. Another point is there's a dark side of it. There's a brighter side of it because I have also discovered other opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, so I started by sharing content, by using that, by sharing content through the articles in LinkedIn back then. I started 2000, it was launched 2013, but I wrote for free 2016, and then I found out the algorithm was very good on LinkedIn when you just make use of those 1,300 characters, and I'm doing it for free. And to think of it that it's for free, people still bash you, asking for more. No? So there are a lot of trolls out there. But anyway, kidding aside, no, what I have discovered is I can earn through writing. So I have entered Medium. If you're familiar with Medium, if there's YouTube, you earn in YouTube based on your viewership on videos. In Medium, you can earn through writing based on who reads it. So I started September 2020 writing on Medium, and from 0 to 1,100 followers. It's not that big compared to the big guns, right? But you know, from 0 to 1,100, applying some consistency by writing every day. So published or unpublished, then I earn income by writing. So speaking of doing what you love and loving what you do, you earn. That's a big bonus. So that's it for me.
Ako na lang siguro muna before. Thank you, Sir Dennis, before Sir Nelson, no. For me, yung gas-gas na word, no, do not put your eggs in one basket. It is true. It is very applicable to that situation. So always, 'di ba? The lessons learned from billiards, 'di ba? Preparasyon. Yun ang greatest lesson sa billiard eh. How do you prepare? 'Di ba? Preparing for the worst. Yun ang lesson sa bilyar. And I guess in addition, yung nag-online tayo lahat, 'di ba? Even me, I'm taking my masters. There's so many distractions. I just realized na mas maraming distractions when you're online. 'Di ba? So filtering that out, having the discipline to remove all the nonsense, the toxic, the negative distractions in your life, may it be online or anywhere else. So again, those are I guess, the top two that came into my mind with regards to the lessons learned from the pandemic. And of course, the value of connections. Uh, oh yes, this year pala, this pandemic, I get to meet Sir Dennis, Sir Nelson, Sir Bernie. Diba? Yung pala, that's one of
Same here.
the greatest gifts, 'di ba? Na hoping to see you all in person, and hoping to 'di ba, know persons that will inspire you, 'di ba? Na it really is a small world, and pag nagkakaisa, we can go into greater uh lengths. Ayan. Thank you so much, Sir Dennis, Sir Bernie, Sir Nelson. Kayo po, Sir Nelson.
The greatest lesson in the pandemic, it is to appreciate our people more. Let me put it this way. We were hit hard by the pandemic when it hit about March or April 2020. Imagine we had to go on lockdown. And so we had to ask our factory workers to volunteer to be inside that plant 24/7. I mean, about 2 months, not from away from their families out there. And they had to really work inside. Credit to our HR. This is also where I really bow to HR. They handle all the logistics, all the laundry, all the food, even the mattresses. But our workers had to stay inside as if it's like concentration camp, and then they had to work and meet the targets, and they were able to do it well. And so when finally the ECQ was lifted, we really lavish our appreciation. And that's why I'm saying that, like what Bernie would say before, we just work, work, work. But then this pandemic had slowed us down, work is more than, life is more than work. It's really life is also people whom we work with. And so we value the people, not really the work. And as we go along, hopefully, the landscape of labor and management, the landscape of our factories, our clinics, our offices will be very, very pleasant if we're able to have this appreciation for each other. That will be my greatest takeaway for the pandemic.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Sir Nelson. So, yep, once more, please check out the book. Head over to sirdennis.com. Okay, assignment for this coming week. Don't forget to subscribe to Sir Bernie and download his ebook as well. And also, of course, check out the books of Sir Nelson. Ayan. Thank you, Lester, Ray, Ann, Emmy Rose, and to all who joined us this evening. And this live stream will be immortalized here. So stay tuned for the condensed version po. Ayan. I think this was already pasted down in the comment section. Again, please connect Sir Dennis De Silva, Sir Bernie Floresca, and Sir Nelson D. Okay, were we able to answer your question? How to get a job in LinkedIn? Okay? Nasagot ba namin? If not, please, we can take this up further by, of course, connecting to us. And yes, please do connect with each other. Ayan. Thank you so much po. Sana nakatulong kami. Simple as that.
You did a great job, Jomar. You did a great job. And thank you, Dennis and Bernie. I also learned from you.
Thank you. Thank
Same
you.
here, sirs. Same here, sir. Same here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
All the best. The young engineers, all the best.
See you all soon.